Mono News. Alright, this is one that you might think, oh come on, it's just an animated film, why are you so annoyed about it? But because I'm an Australian living overseas in Canada, I feel like if I don't comment on this, no one else in this hemisphere is going to really say anything or talk about it too much. Now, Dreamworks has cancelled Tim Minchin's Larrikins. Now, if you don't know who Tim Minchin is, he's an Australian-born, bred and based musician, actor, performer, who has written a number of theatre productions such as Matilda the Musical, and is really one of Australia's most talented musicians working today, and just downright performers, including his performance in Jesus Christ Superstar. Since 2014, or even earlier than that, Dreamworks had bought a project from Tim Minchin, or had Tim Minchin sign onto a project called Larrikins, which Larrikins was about the story of a bilby who has a musical adventure across the Australian outback, and was scheduled for a February 2018 release. You would have seen Hugh Jackman lend his tonsils in the lead role, and also joined by other notable Australian stars such as Margot Robbie, Naomi Watts, Byrne and Ben Mendelsohn. Now, since the Dreamworks acquisition by NBC Universal last year, these new studio executives, since coming into office, these execs have had a look at the projects in Dreamworks' repertoire in the coming years, and has decided to cancel this project from Tim Minchin, which Tim Minchin obviously didn't take very well. On social media, Tim Minchin gave out a statement reading, "Hi everyone, I've recently been working in 3 different continents, missing my kids a lot, sleeping too little, and not playing piano enough. And then a couple days ago, the animated film to which I've dedicated the last 4 years of my life was shut down by the new studio execs. The only way I know how to deal with my impotent fury and sadness is to subject members of the public to the spectacle of me getting drunk and playing ballads. I suspect I won't be very funny. I won't be doing any stand-up, and I might act a bit bitter and spoilt. On the upside, the tickets are as cheap as I could make them, and I might be tempted to buy a round. Come and drink with me, my friends, and we'll see what happens. Love, Tim." Read that. Obviously, Tim has poured a lot of his time, love, and effort into making this animated feature film for 4 years, which is a long time. These animated projects take a long time to get off the ground. You've got to have the technology and hire all the animators to create the film, which is where the majority of the time is spent creating the look and feel and all the animation. And to have a film project that you've been working on for 4 years, which is supposed to be out this time next year, pulled out from under you, would be a real kick in the guts for anyone. Obviously, last year we had the news that Universal Studios, or NBC Universal, purchased Dreamworks Animation from Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the CEO of Dreamworks Animation. So this would mean Universal has both Illumination, which does the Minions and Despicable Me films, and now they have Dreamworks, which obviously has films such as Shrek in their repertoire. And supposedly it's the new Universal execs that have cancelled or axed this Larrikins project. Now, this is disappointing because you look at the films that Dreamworks has in the future, we really don't, aside from maybe How to Train Your Dragon 3, those movies have been very well received, both critically and financially. But, I mean, you've got Captain Underpants coming out later this year, you've got Boss Baby very soon, which I really don't know about Boss Baby. It looks pretty damn generic, if you ask me or anyone who's seen that awful trailer. And then after that, you've really only got Trolls 2, which, I mean, I didn't see Trolls, and I don't really have any intention of seeing Trolls, but I know it made enough money to warrant a sequel, even though apparently the film Home, which starred what's his name, Sheldon Cooper, can't remember his name off the top of my head, that apparently had made more money than Trolls. But anyway, we're getting a sequel to Trolls because that made money and it sold toys. The only other one we've got is a film called Everest, about about a Yeti. So really, not a whole lot is on DreamWorks' schedule. So I imagine NBC and Universal are just chopping up, rearranging resources between Illumination and DreamWorks at the moment, and planning out when they're going to release animated films during the year. But you know, this is a real kick in the guts, because Tim Minchin, for anyone who's seen his work or heard his work, you know how talented the guy is, and find out we're going to miss out on him directing a cast of, you know, Hugh Jackman and Margot Robbie and Rose Byrne, Naomi Watts, even Ben Mendelsohn after his turn in Rogue One. Yeah, it's a real missed opportunity, especially for an original story, an original animated film, which today is just so bizarre. It is really disheartening, considering everything is just based on a toy line, or like Trolls, or pre-existing material, like a book series. Like, even though How to Train Your Dragon, those films have been really quite good up to this point, they're still based on pre-existing material. They're based on books. So to have a completely original animated film cancelled altogether just due to financial reshufflings and studio reshufflings is really quite disappointing. I really do hope, hopefully gets moved or picked up by another film or animation studio if DreamWorks aren't looking to move forward with it. My personal hope, considering it's an Australian set musical, I would kind of hope George Miller, who strangely enough directed the Happy Feet films, this is probably the closest to a Happy Feet as you'd get in this decade, aside from, considering how hit and miss Happy Feet 2 was. If I had to choose, I'd love to see it go to George Miller's company and see him release it, as it's really quite disappointing to see a film like this just thrown under the bus. So yeah, a bit of disappointing news, but I felt like, hey, only a few Australian outlets are probably going to report on this news story, which will receive the most attention considering it's an Australian project, but not a whole lot of American or North American based news sites are going to really devote a whole lot of time to this. So I thought, hey, hear it here, see what you think. Are you disappointed this didn't come to fruition, or are you more on the side of the studio and you see their point of view on this? Let me know. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment in the comment section. Do subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and you can also follow me at The Mono Report on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, and have a good one.